she we were about to, and this was on Halloween, and she just like right before it was going to happen, a phone call came, and her ex-boyfriend got in a car crash, and she left me at her house.
Come on now. Ex-boyfriend, really? And that's what you decided to do? No.
Like, is it my fault that he wrecked his car?
And it's your ex. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're not dating anymore. Like,
yeah, you're not dating anymore.
That's not a priority anymore. We move right along.
No. Open us up, bro.
Hey, we're live. Welcome. Coming off of a lovely win this afternoon or late evening if you're across the pond. Big day for City in the Champions League today, but also in a historical day too, with the anniversary of the 6-1 thrashing that we gave Manchester United. The why always me game, Balotelli pulling his shit, Almago doing his thing, Dzeko wrecking their back line. Absolutely lovely day to be a City fan today. With that being said, welcome to the Snobby Boys!
Nope. What is Welcome to the Snobby Boy Podcast. I'm your host, Colby. That's my homeboy, Joe, over there. We're going to be talking about this apparently slouchy win against Sparta Praha tonight. Jesus Christ.
Lord, help us.
The internet has been on some dumb shit today. Like, did nobody take their vitamin D? Did you not see the sun today? Fucking hell. Oh, we're going to be reviewing that. Talk City news, do Southampton preview. Then we're going to, of course, wrap it up with some bro talk. Let's give a check to the comments here. Nice to see you in here. Luke, what's up, dog? What's up, George?
Gents.
Thanks for stopping by as we...
Luke, you're up late, brother.
You are up late. Thanks for staying up with us, dude.
I think you were just on with Martin, too, so you are on the YouTube circuit right now, bro. Keep it up.
Homeboy ain't quitting. I love it.
Don't you got work at early in the morning, bro? Make sure you get your rest. But thank you for chirping in over here with us, brother. Appreciate that.
6 hours is good enough, isn't it?
That's what I'm usually getting. So
right.
That's good for me, honestly. Getting a solid 6 in, not 8. But what can you do?
I haven't off work till Friday. What's going on? That did you go? Like, are you just on a little holiday, or are you like they're just shut down for the next couple of days, or that's just your schedule? I don't know.
Gotta love being off work.
It's always appreciated, isn't it?
Amen.
Thanks for coming in and hanging out with us tonight, dude. That's really holidays. What holidays?
That's what they call vacation over there.
Well, I know that's what they fucking call it. I know that, but like, is there a holiday I don't know about? We're not celebrating? What the fuck?
I want to celebrate.
I thought we were just long lost cousins, man. How come we don't celebrate the same holidays? All right, let's get into Sparta Praha. First thing I want to say, real quick, for the lot of you who don't know, we obviously have a separate panel. Annual leave is the correct term. Nice one. We have a different panel than you guys over there, and our panel consists of, it's on Paramount Plus. We have Kate Abdo, Terry Henry, fucking douche Carragher, and Micah, right? Okay. So sometimes Kate says some things that or uses certain verbs or verbiage, I should say, that doesn't seem to quite click with Micah sometimes. Today's today's word was plethora. Micah was literally stumped at the what that word was. What?
She can be eloquent at times, but plethora is not one that you should be struggling with, big dog. Jeez, oh Pete.
I would not call that the goat panel. Carragher totally puts a stain all over it.
And yeah,
Kate Abdo is what fucking
she's
polishes
the
that
goat.
shit up.
And her,
and then
if they,
and then Jerry
I
actually
was gonna
makes
say,
sense.
keep it on that half where it's just Kate and Thierry. We don't need the other section of Carragher and Mr. Richards. Oh my gosh.
No, no, we
Kate
don't.
and Thierry's the only one that makes a lick of sense when he's talking footy on the panel, and Kate's just pretty
Even
easy in
when
my
I don't
eyes.
agree with him,
Yeah,
I still would rather listen to what he's got to say because at least it's honest and it has fact rooted in it and it's not just flighty feelings that most people have on the internet. Oh my god, feelings are not facts, y'all. Feelings are not facts. Anyways, so we walk into it. No Jack, no Doku. Apparently, match fitness, whatever that may be. Hopefully, they didn't like gain a couple pounds, and Pep was like putting them on the Calvin Phillips route.
yeah, kind of late breaking news there. You look at the
Yeah,
news that they were going to be out until the lineup came out, and he was saying what Jack was 7 to 10 days and Doku a little bit longer.
yeah.
So we'll see what
Which,
happens.
especially with this upcoming week. I mean, three matches scheduled for the week. Uh, we can honestly, and I will dive into this a lot later, but I feel like with what we saw today, we're going to be seeing that at least for the next three matches or some variation of it.
Yeah, we're
Um,
KDB not quite ready either.
nope.
Kyle apparently picked up a knock coming off of the international break and still not ready. So we're missing, I think it was 6 teamers. So we couldn't even name the full allotment of bench players
Mm-mm.
for this match because our EDS squad was also in action today. So
Yep.
they pulled Nico O'Reilly up to fill out the bench a little bit, and he didn't play for his usual squad, but they still pulled out a 3-0 win on the youth Champions League side. So that was nice. But seeing, I think we're providing the Champions League 12 bench slots, and we can only put 7 in there. So
Mm-hmm.
that's not ideal. But thankfully the boys took care of business anyway. So it's real interesting how things are shaking out right about now.
Mm-hmm. Gundo, he got his 100th Champions League appearance today. It was a little weird looking at the lineup, and we'll discuss that here for a second. A little weird looking at the lineup, considering what Joe just said with our bench being skint. Um, Diaz not starting over Kanji. I think a lot of people liked it. I did myself, but it also was kind of a head turner. I felt like he was doing pretty well, playing in position for us over the last few matches. I didn't think that he needed the time off. Thought maybe he needed more time on, to be honest. But honestly, it was good to see Kanji back in action. Same thing with Ake. They both look like they missed the pitch. I'll tell you that. Ake really came out right there in the beginning and was very, very tentative to what was going on around him. So that was really good to see. Um, let's discuss Pep's attacking tactics and positioning with Foden, Nunez, Bernie, and Savio. I don't think anyone saw Nunez actually working in the wing quite well like he did as he did today, quite as well as he did today. I think a lot of people thought that Phil would probably take over that role and have Savio opposite to him. And that's kind of the way they pictured it in the lineup,
Yeah.
but that's not how it played out, and it never does. One of the comments that I actually saw from Anthony Rawson on X was, and it was, I felt like it was questioning it, which, you know, questioning Pep is always kind of laughable because we're not coaches. We don't have we don't have. I mean, we are coaches, but we're not like Class A coaches. But uh, I think I think it threw a lot of people off, and people often forget that Phil doesn't really stay in the central role as much. He especially with Bernie, and I think even for me especially, I thought him and Bernie would be on the same side, and they would kind of be alternating back and forth as they have over the last several matches. Even going back into last year when that was happening. So I figured that was going to be in play, and then you would have Savio and Nunes kind of working off of each other, creating a bond. But obviously, Nunes usually plays off to the left, so that's not the way that worked out today.
Yeah, I think Savino is the only one that we knew for sure where he was going to line up. The other three, it was going to be a crapshoot on, on
Yep.
who Pep picked to play where. I'm very glad that he had Phil operating centrally. He's got so much more freedom to roam there and to pick up the ball in different small and half spaces where he's
Mm-hmm.
most effective. So I was really happy to see um, Phil in the middle, and then him and Bernie work so well together as the two attacking mids. I love seeing them together. And then Nunes shouldn't be a surprise that he for those who follow him and regularly that he performed well on the wing. He's played there before for us, for other clubs. He's what Pep said after the match. He can play in a variety of positions and excel at them. So
Mm-hmm.
it was nice. As soon as it's kickoff started and I saw him hugging the touchline there, I was like, okay, Nunes is going to be playing on that left wing and kind of cutting in on his right. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that worked out extremely well. Having Gundo in this match as the six and giving
Mm-hmm.
Broga a rest against a team where we were clearly going to dominate possession. 100% the right move. That's a good spot for Gundo to be in. That's the role I foresee for him in the future with us, helping us, you know, maintain possession, switching the ball, picking up, finding some late runs because when we're playing pushed up so hard that we talked about before, where our Stones, Akanji are pretty much in those midfield roles, we need him making those late runs into the box, not necessarily being the one that's occupying that front space near Holland. We need him making those because that's what he's known for with us is late arriving runs, making in not being
Mm-hmm.
somebody who's like just picking up the ball and turning with it in the top of the box. We need him
Mm-hmm.
kind of switching the field and making those runs. So I really like the way that they were lined up today. There was a lot of things tactically that I saw differently between the first half and the second half that we'll get to that I really enjoyed to see, especially against the low block that Sparta decided to employ, which again in this kind of competition, not going to get you a whole lot of points here. And I'm sure they weren't expecting to get anything, but man, just leads to not a great, I want to say great watch, but if you're there, it's just, it becomes more of the same. We've seen this story play out time and again now because every club that we play, including alleged big clubs like Arsenal, um, deploy the same exact tactics week in, week out. So
We're getting better. We're getting better at
they're
breaking it
learning.
apart a little bit. You know what I
Tonight
mean?
was a very good way example to take moving forward on how to switch up the attack a bit to create
Mm-hmm.
more space for each other and um, to take advantage of the skill set of our boys. So really happy that I've been buzzing all afternoon after watching the match. I've just been in such a good place. So that was wonderful, and it was really nice to see someone who you beat me to the punch apparently, um, but both of us hadn't spoken
All day.
about leading up to the match, and on X, Colby puts up, or not X, on Insta, Colby dropped the pew pew sign from Phil, and then we threw that up on X on my side with expecting one of these tonight, and not 3 minutes in,
Yep.
Philly was
Boom.
smashing it into the far right corner.
Phil,
You could,
Phil, 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 Phil,
bro,
Phil, Phil,
those first
Phil, Phil. Look what you done.
those first 3 minutes, leading up to that goal, I was like, he's definitely scoring today because
Oh yeah.
he was in a mood right off the rip, trying to score, and was quick with his movements. His feet were phenomenal. It looked like the Phil from last year where he was winning, all the individual awards he pretty much could. So that
Mm-hmm.
was lovely to see. So happy to see him get back on the score sheet.
Yeah, it was a good start to the match. Unfortunately, that became a possession game through the next 42 minutes, which we dominated the whole time. Apparently, it made people leave. We got a tip, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the community that has seen this has helped us blast this motherfucker. Season ticket holder holds 4 tickets, decides to leave in the 20th minute because it's boring. What the fuck is that shit? Because I can tell you that there's 4 tourists that will take those tickets real quick. We're 2 of them.
Mm-hmm. Like,
the ungratefulness is not tolerated ever.
And shout out to Tone and other of the city
citizen fan cast as well.
Yeah, for putting that dude on blast and frying him up in the comments on X, because
dude,
that dude doubling down after the match, saying it like he was
triple down. He tripled down on it. He tripled down on it after I responded to him, and it took me everything not to call him an ungrateful little bitch and tell him to give up his season tickets.
He tried to explain himself like it's not just City. I'm not banging on City. Like, bro, we see what you're doing. You're an alleged City supporter who holds.
You're an elitist twat, is what you are.
Yeah. Rather go back to the '90s. What? Really?
Okay. I bet you were fucking rooting for Beckham too.
Bingo. That's it right there. Just, I don't understand. For me, when I get tickets to a match or a concert or any kind of event that I've paid money for, you best believe I'm sitting through that entire thing, maybe a little bit extra, and getting my full amount of time in that I paid for. Yeah. And if it's a club that you allegedly love, if you are a season ticket holder, you'd imagine that you hold some kind of love for the club in your heart. And then have the nerve to go on X and say you're going to go off to the pub and have a beer instead and everything. Like,
the sense of entitlement and like just I could think of so many different words, and I could be extremely crass. I'm gonna not tonight because this was a good win. That shit's got to stop though, guys. Like, take your fucking take some fucking Midol or something before you go, because like nobody has time for that shit. If we go back to the 90s, it was.
I was an inter.
Well, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm glad we're not in the 90s anymore for that.
Yeah, I'm glad we're not there. Yeah, glad we're here today.
Stay with us, Nick. But it's just you can't change how the other team plays. If they're gonna camp out in front of the 18-yard box, what else do you want us to do? If we just sit back with what Chikanji did a few times with the ball, like on our half of the field, with the ball and like waiting for them to come out, that's not on City. That's not our fault. That's not our manager's fault. That they have a game plan, they're sticking to it. And when the opposing teams refuse to play against you, that's not our club's fault. If you want to get on X and bash people, smash on the opposing teams who come and play against us and choose actively not to play football.
Literally, like, it took me everything not to tell this motherfucker to fuck off back to London. Because that's really what it felt like. It felt like that type of plastic. It felt like I honestly like, and he didn't refute the fact that I said he probably rooted for United in the 90s.
Nope.
He didn't. He actually liked it. So, side switcher, up in your shit, bro. Let's how do we root those people out, guys? Yes. Especially you guys over there. Like, how do we root these guys out? Because there is no room for that type of shit. and especially for us as Americans, like I think a lot of people have this, perception of Americans that we're actually not loyal. Dude, we're fucking loyal as shit. The fact that we're even doing what we're doing now, like, what does that say? I don't know. Anyways, City possession game. Halftime rolls around. Uh, yeah, just have a possession. Have a possession. Have a possession.
Yeah, nothing too of note in the first half, other than Stonesy shortly after the goal picked up a yellow card that was pretty unnecessary, really, because we had other people around the ball.
I will say though, on the replay, I saw him touch the ball first. Was him throwing his body into the player a little bit egregious? Yes, but there was contact on the ball first, and they did not take that into account at all.
Seemed pretty early on the yellow.
It really
First real challenge, and you're pulling a card out of your head and putting somebody in the book. I don't know about that one.
I mean,
Holland had a terrific header early on too. Shortly after that, I think Nunez put a ball in the box and he got it low and into a corner, but their keeper made a phenomenal save. And then they had a couple of moments, probably one or two, where their pace kind of were a little difficult for us to cope with at times. But Ortega had a great save. I think it was around the 25th, 26th minute. He got down and got a hand on a cross that would have gone into the side netting if he wasn't there. But other than that, he really had nothing to do with his hands most of the game. It was just pass backs and recycling play for him. So that was pretty much the first half. However, coming out of halftime, clearly some changes were made tactically, and Ake should, in my opinion, have been given that goal that he scored within like the first 2 minutes off of a corner. It was checked and they ruled it as a handball. The dude's hand was, you can't see because I'm like, was literally like up against his body. It was not extended out here. It was right here. And
he tucked it in.
And the distance between him and the guy who struck the ball, was like this much. And from my understanding, the new rule, which we saw with Jack when he had his hand like way out here, it's not a handball if the distance is close. So for me, should not have been ruled off. The guy, Nunez, was calling for a handball in the first half in the box against a Sparta defender who had his elbow in and it hit him. Same, almost the exact location, not given. This one given as a handball. So it's continued frustration over the inconsistency of the handball rule. I don't think that's ever going to go away. I think every fan has been frustrated since they started watching football that the handball decisions and rules are not great and very subjective. So that I don't think is going anywhere at this point. So that's unfortunate. But it is what it
Could have been a 6-0 game. Could have been, but it ain't.
Yep. Could have gave one away too early in the second half.
Could've.
Rico had a very lazy hospital ball is what we like to call him on Jordan's team, where he just kind of this little tippy tap pass back to Ortega and was almost intercepted by one of their players. Thankfully, he had an awful first touch and then just dribbled it pretty much out of bounds and for a goal kick. But just another little mental lapse there where we weren't strong on the back pass to our keeper. So not great there. And then
bang, bang, bang.
The human fucking cyborg. Unreal goal from Erling Haaland.
Can we safely say that might be the goal of the year at this point?
That his back and ass was facing the goal, and he just
I've never seen somebody back heel a bicycle kick like that.
Yeah, right?
I've never seen that before in my life. Not even like he literally looked like a kitty cat getting spooked.
Yes. And Savinho had a just dirty run on their outside back and put him in a blender to get down to the byline and then put in that gorgeous ball. And I was like, oh, that might be a little too far. And then I was like, oh, wait.
It's
That's
Erling
Erling Haaland.
Haaland.
He can reach that shit. And the amount of pace that he was able to put on it and placement when he's not even looking at the fucking goal,
Hmm.
just absolutely unreal. And right before that, people were banging on him again for hasn't scored in 3 matches and he's not getting any service and yada yada yada.
More vitamin
He got
D, please.
he got some service on that one, but also on that topic because when all 21 players except for Ortega are within 10 yards, it's kind of hard to get service into the middle of the box for a striker. Even if he's 6'4" like Holland is, it's kind of
Hmm.
difficult to get balls in there to him like he likes when there's 21 people inside the 18-yard box. I'm sorry, this just stop banging on the service piece because it's crowded in that bitch. So,
Yeah. So it's a bit like a sardine can, isn't it?
yes.
Yeah. I really do, and I'm gonna bang on this a couple of times this episode. It really is disheartening to sit here and see the negative lead in and the like un, un un like you don't think before you speak. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just you're speaking off your fat thumb's emotions, and like it doesn't work all the time. Like it for most of you guys who don't know, I've only recently gotten into this game. I won't say when. I'll just say recently. This is a lot of what I saw today on the internet is literally the reason why I never wanted to watch the game because there are so many little whiny bitches. It is ridiculous. When is that going to stop? Or how do we curb that? Because I'm so done with it. It makes the game unenjoyable. Like we just won 5-0 and there's people like literally pissing in everybody else's Cheerios over it. For what? What did you get out of that? Other than you look like a fucking retard. Excuse my language, but like bang on that later. Um
So we weren't done scoring.
no, we weren't.
We had
10
three
minutes.
more to go. Yeah,
10 minutes of
three
scoring.
more to put in the back. We had Johnny, another header goal. Nunez, our boy that we've been banging on to get some more run, put in a nice cross, and Johnny got a great header on it, put it into the corner. Um, and then the next Holland's second goal, his that he got was to me was an absolute thing of beauty. Rico picked the ball up in our half, quickly transitioned, which I've been begging for when we win the ball from our defensive half to quickly transition to get the ball up, and that's exactly what happened. It was almost like some one-touch passing from Rico, dropped it into Phil. Phil one-timed it over to Nunez, and Nunez picked up a second uh, assist and laid it off perfectly to Holland, who actually showed some technical ability with his feet. He
For
rolled it
once.
onto his from his left onto his right and just slotted it home. Um, that's the kind of break that we have been missing and not seeing lately is because we've just had the ball around the box so much. So seeing
Mhm.
a quick transition to utilize the skills of the players that we had on the pitch was just wonderful. I was so excited to see that. Um, and then to have Holland bury that chance, he's back in form.
Yeah. Good to see a lot less of the low block. I mean, it was still there, it was still prevalent, but we were able to disband it better than we have in the past. What's up, Steve?
Yeah, in the second half, it was more noticeable where the center backs were playing the ball from. Normally, recently, the when we've been going up against a low block, our center backs have been probably on the 20 around the 20-yard mark, so just outside the 18. Um, but in the
A little
second
too
half,
close.
second half they were picking the ball up and passing it around a little bit more close, more so like at the edge of the circle in the center of the pitch, and they were kind of hanging
Hmm.
back there, which was opening up more space. They were drawing out their defenders to come out to pressure a little
The
bit
top
more.
line of defenders, yeah.
Yeah. And then that just created more space for our guys to operate, which is exactly what I mentioned on Sunday's pod with Will. was we need to bring the ball back a little bit to create more operating room for our fantastic midfielders, and that's going to give
Mhm.
Holland more space. They did that, but then they would press up and they would move the ball around in the 18, and then they would bring it back again. So it was they were trying to do different things other than just pass the ball around the 18 and hope for a moment of brilliance from somebody. So they clearly were
Mhm.
told, and Pep saw something where he was giving them some other direction. So that was welcome sight to see them trying some different things against said low block, which allowed transition opportunities and space, which is what you really want.
Well, and we had talked a little bit about this before we got on. We both kind of got what we wanted in this past Sunday statement, where I was saying where we should penetrate the box a little bit more and drag defenders deeper in to create space between the front and back line of defense. Holland was trying his damnedest when he was centrally to try to pull back both center halves and create that space so then he could at least attempt to move forward, turn, and kick. So if we can continue to do that where we pull defenders up towards defenders up towards our defenders when we're passing around the ball, creating that little bit of space so Holland can at least push those couple two closer to the 6-yard box, therefore leaving him enough room to be able to take, turn, and go.
Yeah,
It's
and to your
slowly but
point,
surely working.
same thing with not necessarily Holland, but with Nunez and
Mm.
earning the PK in the
Mm-hmm.
86. He got to the end line and was pressing up deeper into the box, and Savinho was doing the same thing quite often, where he was getting all the way to the byline and then trying to pull it back into the top of the box, much like you were talking about too. So spot on, and that was good to see that your assessment on Sunday was also coming to fruition across all three of our front attacking players. So
We're just dumb
just in different
Americans,
ways.
though.
We don't know what we're
We're just
talking about though.
we're just dumb Americans. We don't know what we're talking about.
So Nunez very clearly earned himself a PK, and I absolutely love that they had him take it too. I was very curious because
Mm-hmm.
our usual takers were not on the pitch at that point.
Yep.
So I was like, who are they gonna have take this one? I was like, I really hope it's Nunez because they were showing the replay and he got absolutely kicked hard as shit by by their outside back. It was no question a PK, and then seeing him bury it like that.
Maybe
That
I'm feeding him some notes. I don't know.
a lot of what we both said popped up on the field today, so somebody was
Dude.
watching and passed the
Yeah.
information along. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no, there wasn't just like a one-off chance. There were several different points that we made last episode that then transpired into this game today. So yeah, like
So we're
massive
gonna
win
go.
for us, I guess.
We're gonna go ahead and pat ourselves on the back on this one. I hate to say I told you so, but we told you so.
Tosa.
So, who was your man of the match?
Oh shit! Here we go. Honestly, man, right off rip, it was Phil. Um,
Well, he
and,
won
and,
it
and
by
purely
he got
because
the little trophy. So
right, he got the scoring going, he got the feeling going, um, he just felt like he was in the right vibe today, and I felt,
yes,
between that disallowed goal from the cross that he made in and his attempts and his efforts, I really felt he was the man of the match early on. As it progressed, he was still a part of the system and he was helping things work, which was great. That means what we pay him to do. But that momentum shift, especially as we saw the substitutes come on. Holland had then scored his goals. Johnny Stones does his goddamn thing again. And then Nunez, he locks it up for us. I mean, it was already nailed in by the third goal, but this one's going to be tough for me to say because I honestly I feel like I should give a 3-star system in this. Like I feel like we should
that
totally go hockey. So if I'm going to go with my first star, I'm going to go Holland for the 2 goals. My second star will go to Phil, and my third star will go to Nunez.
I got the same 3, but I'm gonna go Nunez star 1, and then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Phil 2 and Holland 3, even though he
3.
scored a brace. But
Right.
I don't think if a lot of good choices today because they all played extremely well. I don't think there's anybody on the pitch that I could say and look at that was like, because there've been times recently where you could say like maybe Gundo didn't have a great game, maybe Rico didn't
Right.
have a
Last
great game
game.
here. Yeah, so but in this one, I don't think
No,
anybody
there
was
wasn't a
worse.
slouch today. And I think everybody knew they had to step up considering the amount of injuries we have now. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, we're just getting Bob back, and we may not see him until February, even still.
hmm
So
But one thing you love about that, and that just came to mind, was lots of guys getting knew that they were going to get more playing time today because of injuries to Jack and Doku and Kai, all that. And what we're seeing this season is guys are taking those chances and those opportunities and running with them.
yes.
Nunez in the past would get an opportunity and maybe not play great last year. This season, any opportunity he's getting in, he's making an impact. Last
Mm-hmm.
week in Wolves, the 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 game winning goal started because he was hustling, won the ball back inside our defensive third, and when transitioned it up to the field, that led to the corner that got John Stone's goal. So you're
Mm-hmm.
seeing guys come in and take these opportunities that they're being given from guys being out, which is
Mm-hmm.
what you love to see as a manager because that's just going to create more competition for places. Practices are going to be that much more intense, and people are going to not want to get dropped because we know what happens in
Mm-hmm.
this team when Pep's riding with the guys who are hot at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I love seeing our people like to use the term fringe players. I don't like using fringe players because I think they're all important. But the guys
Mm-hmm.
who aren't getting as many opportunities in the past are now getting them, and they're performing extremely well, which is going to make us such a more balanced and difficult team to match up with.
One of the other things that I'd like to take mention to is the fact, and this is something that I have harped on for a long time, and for anybody that's in here that has been with us for a while, you've heard me say this time and time again. Clean up the fucking box. We've been doing it. And you saw that today, especially with the John Stones goal, and then even the disallowed goal. You
Yep.
saw that they were not scared to jump down the 6 yard box and clean the trash up. More of that shit. That's how we get goals. That's how we
I
get
wrote
easy goals, at least.
I typed that on my notes thing for Ake before the disallowed goal was clean up the trash and was like, make sure you mention that to Colby. And I didn't even mention it. And there you go.
Got to clean up the trash. It's really good, and I think with this whole one like the next man up thing, and having a skint squad, it has helped maybe forge a bond a little bit. Because you absolutely need everybody around you at this point. It's not like, oh, well, I might play with that guy or I might play with that guy. He might come on, and we don't really have exactly the best chemistry, but we'll make it work. Like, no, everybody was forced to make sure that that chemistry was at 120% today, or else 5, even almost 6, was not even possible. And to use to slander Sparta Praha,
Mm.
bro, let's remember what competition this is, right? Yes, they may not be the best team in the competition. However, they're the best in their country. They certainly have every right
They're
to
the
be here.
champions of Czechia. Yeah.
Exactly. Like it's just it's very short sighted to even say like that, and then to lead with the negative part of that. I'm sorry. You know who you are that I'm calling out. It's really bugging me, dude. Like we can't be so goddamn negative about the team anytime we get a chance to. Like, let's find the positives and let's focus on them and then decide whether or not those negatives really impacted those positives. More often
And
they don't.
they were sitting on the same number of points we were coming into the match.
Yeah.
They had won and drawn a match. So this wasn't like the bottom feeders of the Champions League. This
No.
is
And
a
let's
decent team
let's
that's
not forget they did score on us last time. So it's not like they didn't have it in them.
and I think I heard during the game. It's been a long time since they've not scored in a match, and for us to keep a clean sheet, that's not a big thing. And oh, that is
That is Patrick. Okay, sorry,
oh
dude. Okay, but you lead with the front foot. You lead with a negative foot. So honestly, it makes somebody not even want to read it because it's like, oh, here comes negative Nelly. Like that's all I'm getting at, dude. With the rest of what you said, cool. The lead off with we're facing Sparta. They're here for a fucking reason. Like we're not. This isn't. This isn't like we're talking about a Division III team. This is somebody who's made it to this stage, and to just one off them like that, I just kind of feel like it's very short sighted. And because today could have went any other way, it happens.
And something Colby and I were mentioning pre-show was like, we win 2-1 against Wolves, and it was shit. It's not good. It's bad. We win 5-0, and it's still performance wasn't great. Well, it's just that one team we were playing. We're playing. We're a world beater. Like, enjoy the win. That's what we're saying here. Like, we won the match. They played extremely well. I don't want to hear any of that nonsense that I've been seeing on X from a lot of different people. This isn't you, Patrick, because I haven't seen what you were commenting, but just people just talking down the performances.
Patrick, you're missing my point, dude. Like, let's just wipe this clean. You're missing my point. You start off negative. When somebody starts off negative in anything, in any conversation, nobody wants to have a conversation with them. Period. That's just the way that is, and that's specifically me. Like, I don't want to have a conversation with somebody who constantly starts off on a negative foot. It's not fun. It doesn't make for good talk. It just makes me like, I don't want to talk to that guy now. Like, and this isn't just a you specific thing. Like, we dealt with a lot of the shit today on X right after the match, especially with this one bell end that we were talking about earlier, who just walked out of the match 20 minutes in because it wasn't exciting enough for him. Like, you should be grateful that we're even in the spot that we're in. No, there's no more to discuss. I said my piece. It is what it is. If that's the way that that's the way that you like to talk, it's not going to go very far with me. I'm just going to let you know that right up front.
After a 5-0 win, we're just saying let's be positive about it, and then dive into the details afterwards. So, I just wish more folks across social medias, on Insta, on YouTube comments, X, all those kind of things, would stop being negative or just bashing on the club when it's not been to their expectation or what they thought the game was going to go like. The other team has a manager. They have quality players and game plans that sometimes they just execute, and it makes it difficult on us to score. We're not. So it's for me, it's just the frustration of, we win matches by 1-0, 2-1. It's not great. We win 5-0, and it's still
not good enough.
It's still not good enough. And I guess
it's annoying.
I'm watching a different match than other people are, I guess, because I don't think the performances have been that bad. And it seems like all season, no matter what the result is, people are choosing to bash the performance because it's not what they want it to look like.
Right.
And that's
like, if you were the coach, you'd be there.
Let's start that way. That's good.
Yeah. Steven and Joe, remind me what this is. What do they call this on Ted Lasso last season? It's like a letdown sandwich.
A letdown sandwich?
I forget what it's called. It's
a compliment sandwich.
Compliment sandwich.
You start with something good, then you bring in where they can improve, and then you end with something good.
Right. But also, I'm in the Al Davis. That's right. Just win. If we could bring more of that American mentality into this sport, where it's just like, thank you for what you've done. You're professionals. I'm not one, and I loved seeing my team win today. Great. I don't care who it's against. That's like, I really hope Chad's not in here tonight. I think he might have left us after I swung my terrible towel on him. I think he might have. But
it's been a tough year for the Jets.
It's been a tough fucking 2 decades for the Jets. Longer than that even. Uh, but like that's like me getting upset over losing to the Jets. Like, who does that? I don't know. Maybe just a different look at sports, but like for the most part, I feel like people who have grown up watching and have been a part of it, like I don't know if it's just something that's been sucked over from the British culture, but like people are just negative right off the rip, and it's just like, for what? For what?
It's a cultural issue in general. I think a lot of people are just negative Nellies now, and I've never been able to live my life that way.
No,
I mean, I will not ever be that person.
I have my negative moments, and that's not to say that I'm Mr.
Everybody.
Positive all the time. That's everybody. But like, as I've gotten older, the more and more that I've realized that I've started off something negative, or I have given any kind of negative connotations to anything, I've noticed that people don't want to associate with me. I don't want that. I like people. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this. That's why we're doing this. Just, yeah, whatever. Halftime.
Slight stoppage this time.
Slight stoppage. We got 1:15 of stoppage. It's right about the time they blow the whistle. We will be right back.
All Manchester City fans are glory hunting plastics. Every single one of them claims to have supported them since the 70s, even though they were only born in the 90s. But I'm willing to give Manchester City Plastics an opportunity to prove me wrong.
Oh, damn! I forgot to hit the fucking repeat button on that shit.
It happens.
So, welcome back from the half. We that joker on actually left at halftime with 100% one. Oh, okay. Hold on, what's his name? Let's blast this guy.
Dirt Bomber or something like that.
Well, let's get his real handle, because that was Lord with Nail, at Lord with Nail. If you ever see this guy on X, just troll the shit out of him, roast him, do whatever you got to do, because if you leave at the 20-minute mark, you don't deserve your tickets. I'm just flat out, you don't deserve them. You stay till the end. Isn't that like our whole motto? Fight till the end. That means everybody, not just
the players and managers and all that.
Bollocks. Absolute bollocks. So let's get into some City news, shall we? Pep was not happy, and I can completely understand why, with the international coaching situation and the lack of communication that has been had between club and national teams. Not telling us. Now, I actually need to ask questions, because I don't know the full story on this, but was it Carlsley, or was it is it Tommy Tuchel who got him hurt?
Lee.
So it was Carlsley.
Yep.
Got him hurt, did not have any communication. Apparently this has been an issue for quite some time now. Hopefully this is a wake-up call to other international managers, because this isn't just our team that it's happening to, guys. This is every other team. That's not okay. These people are on higher paid salaries on their clubs than they are on their national teams. I believe club would take precedence in a player's life over national team in that regard, because yes, they still get paid even though they're injured, but these are competitors. they want to play. Then they want to earn their keep, which is commendable unto itself. I don't think it's too hard to give him a call and say, "Hey, your boy, he picked up a little knock. I'd like for him to see a physio as soon as he gets back."
And
That would be
allegedly,
the
this has been a
commendable thing to do.
problem pre him too, and since the first year or so of Southgate's reign, that was the last time Pep had really any conversations with Southgate over this kind of situation. And considering we're consistently sending 4 or 5 guys to that team, you would think there would be some kind of rapport built and conversation happening from time to time. And that's 1000% on the national team manager to initiate those kind of things. Because like most of these guys have played or have managed a club on the club level before too. You know what it's like as a manager of a club team. You're losing your guys you don't have control of. Because let's be real, most managers have a little bit of control freak in them. You have to be at that level.
I hope so.
They're yeah, exactly, and they're
I hope so.
and you don't know what's going on at training. You don't know what's happening. So if a guy has a knock, picks up a little niggle or whatever it is, pick up the phone, send a text message. I'm sure you have people who can get in touch with whoever needs to be contacted and let them know what's going on. It's just common courtesy, and it seems like this is a bigger thing. This isn't just with like the English national team coach either. This is the culture right now of managers is that the national team coach doesn't really communicate too much with the club level, and that just doesn't seem right at all.
And honestly, that's really leaving the club manager to have to find out through the media. Nobody wants to find shit out through the fucking media because we all know that it's all fucking spun anyways. That's bad business. It's just bad business.
100%.
Bad fucking business. Let's go into some more criticism that has popped up over this week. And it's honestly been persistent since the beginning of the Champions League tournament. The criticism over the new format. Is it uncompetitive? Guys, let's get your take here in the comments of whether or not you believe this new format is competitive enough for this tournament to even really logistically make sense. Because we are talking about the teams that are at the top of their leagues that are coming in together. We've now expanded it to 32 teams, so now we've got that extra pool, and it's we do get that a lot of these new incoming teams are not of the best caliber comparatively to the Premier League teams, the Bundesliga teams, the La Liga teams, and even the top tier French team and some of the top tier Italian teams. What would you like to see? I guess maybe is even a better question in the format with how it's currently structured in order for it to be more competitive.
I understand what they're going for, where every match means a little bit more, allegedly. But when you have 8 of them and you're coming up against City as a lower tier team, we get results like today, where they're not really trying to win. They know they're not going to get any points. It is what it is. But they're like, I have other matches I can really worry about to get my points to get me into the playoff spot. When you're in the group stage, that's not an option. When you have 4 teams in your group like it was previously and you have to finish in the top 2 to advance, it doesn't matter. Like all those matches matter. You can't just like set up shop in a group stage match against City, AC Milan, Barcelona. You can try to you actually have to work to maybe get a point to keep yourself afloat instead of just being like, we're not going to get any points here. We're not really going to try. And that's still to me feels 100% like a money grab. We're getting more teams in, more games, which means more money. And I think it was a result of the Super League thing being coming out a couple of years ago, because this is almost the structure of what they wanted the Super League to look like, where it's just one big table and you're getting bigger matchups. Because we do get occasional matchups like today where it's Barcelona and Bayern, but Barca ran roughshod over Bayern. So it's like you want these bigger matchups, but just because you have 2 big name teams doesn't mean it's going to be a good game.
No.
You're not guaranteed a big match just because it's two big names.
No.
So I'm with Steve. I would much rather go back to the old format. I really don't like this 8 matches. The fixtures congestion is already a nightmare as it is for clubs like us that are in multiple competitions. And when you add in 2 more midweek matches, it just, especially down the road when the competitions go further and you're looking for opportunities to find games because they get rescheduled, there's not a lot of options. So it's frustrating.
That's 100%. That's 100%.
Yes.
I'll even bump that up to 150% because it does not protect the players whatsoever, and that's honestly, I think we all know this at this point. This is a major talking point, especially amongst the players. We're talking about a 38 game season, right? And then we're talking about Champions League, not only Champions League, Europa or Europa League, depending on where you fall, right? Then you're talking about domestic cups, domestic tournaments, right? And then you throw the international play into it. 100% of our squad goes out on fucking leave. And every time, for the most part, we come back not healthy.
Like clockwork.
And it's clockwork. Another thing is that, and this is something that Evan from Citizen Fancast had said, it breaks the rhythm of these teams. Nobody's able to start really getting on any type of foot when they're having to take a break every fucking 4 weeks. Doesn't make any sense. Then you're doing it right in the middle of the month when things are like typically pretty heavy. It doesn't make it doesn't fit. We need to make certain tournaments for certain seasons. We obviously know that the World Cup gets played during the summer. Same in the Club World Cup now. Or has it been? Probably.
This is the first time the Club World Cup will be in the summertime.
That's right. Yeah. So now it's in the summer, finally. But I mean, that's club ball though. Euros. We get that it's every 2 years. Do we need all these fucking matches 2 years before you get in? No.
Because this season it's been one every month almost. I think it's been one September, October, and November. We've had
we haven't gone a month this season yet without having a break.
So it's that, and then with the new Club World Cup format, the teams that go through and advance through that are doing that competition too. They get 3 weeks off maybe before the season starts, and during those 3 weeks is when you're usually trying to get them back into routine, get their fitness up, and get back into working and training with the team. But now they're going to need time off because they've been playing for 12 months straight. So it's far too much for the players. It's way too much, and the powers that be don't seem to care. No matter how many times players have said it, we've heard multiple players come out, especially after Rodri made his comments. They don't care about the players' well-being, and this is something that's been the case in. Steve, appreciate you hanging out, Brent, my guy.
Yes, sir.
Take care of them children, however many you got. We are also both dads, as you know, so we understand.
Yep. Family first.
But even in American sports and the NFL and NBA, they've been adding tournament. Well, in NBA, they've added like in-season tournaments, much like the FA Cup. NFL is continuously trying to add more games to the schedule without adding any additional bye weeks for players to get rest. They keep throwing in more Thursday night matches where they get 3 days to rest after pretty much going through a car accident on a Sunday and then have to travel.
Or a Monday.
So it's like...
Well, actually, I don't think the rules allow that in the league. So I think you have to, if you play Monday, you can't play Thursday. So even still, that we're talking about somebody, like you said, we're talking about somebody who just basically got fucking run over by a train, having to mend themselves in 4 days.
Nonsense. And then usually there's travel involved, and when even with the first class travel that most of the guys get, that's still not resting. That's still not recuperating and truly recovering.
No.
Traveling isn't always peaceful. Even if you're on a private jet, you're still on the plane with the entire staff and players, and that's not necessarily a relaxing situation. So it's just across the board, across all sports, they're trying to cram in as many games as possible because it is trying the powers that be can make as much money as possible. We all recognize that at this point, and there doesn't really seem to be an easy fix where that's going to be something that's changed anytime soon. So
It
we'll see what
is
happens.
that such is life until things change, until we get the powers that be out and somebody else in that is has a little bit more integrity, has a little bit more class, and has a bit of common sense and isn't trying to pull for every fucking pound they possibly can. It's sick that sports have become this type of money grab because at the root of this is competition, right? We as men are all very competitive nature type peoples. And that's what it really should just be centered around. And I get that you're trying to build a brand, but like I feel like the football brand has already been well built out for a very long time. You're either with it or you're not, and most of the people that aren't are actually here in the States, and that's purely based upon the fact that it is not spoon fed to us from the time that we're children. It will be in this next coming generation, I feel, especially now Messi's here in America. More people, more kids are taking to the sport, but it's going to be another 50 or 60 years before we see some real changes to the point where we're taking into account a player's health.
Speaking of health,
yes,
we got 5 matches to go until the international break. Hopefully, on the flip side of our injury situation currently with 6 guys out, obviously we know Bob and Rodri much longer than the other 4 that we've mentioned: KDB, Walker, Doku, and Grealish. Could there be a positive spin on this in that we only have a week and a half, 2 weeks until international break?
right.
Hopefully those guys all, including Kevin, hopefully Ake, who's just coming back, maybe we don't have so many guys going out on international duty this go around, considering the injury situation, and we can pull out what Kevin did this past one in October, where he said, "I'm not available to be selected. Don't pick me. I'm recovering." So hope maybe that'll give those guys some extra time off to rest, recover here in Manchester with the physios we have, and not have to do that. So trying to put some positive spin on, maybe it's coming at an okay time, where we also know that one of those 5 matches is the Carabao Cup against Tottenham, where Pep has already said we will be fielding many of the young players to give some squad rotation, and is that out of necessity now, considering we don't have 4 of them available that we might have expected to at this time.
Right.
So, and we got to have the guys who just played today will likely feature on Saturday against Southampton. They're going to need a rest. So maybe on the positive side, where we won't have so many go out on break and stay close to home to recover and be ready for the stretch run, because after this break, that's when we know fixtures start coming hot and heavy in December and January.
Especially before we go into winter break.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there.
We shall. I believe that's all the city news we have for you guys tonight. We're going to do a little preview of Southampton, things that we see may or may not happen. We obviously know that we will be without the services of Jack and Doku, so our attacking will be limited. We fully expect that we will see the same, if not a little bit of a tweaked version of what we saw today against them. Dude, listen, it's okay to disagree, because at the end of the day, I don't dislike you for who you are. You're still a great person. And the same thing goes with a lot of people that we disagree with. We don't always see the game the same way, and that's all fine and good. But you know what? That helps us build our knowledge because then we're able to see the other perspective rather than just bashing it down. I
Absolutely.
110% believe and saw the perspective of Patrick. I think for me specifically in reading that, because of all of the negative shit that I saw, that was more or less a last straw, especially coming from somebody that I admire and respect. So it was just very off-putting for me there for a second, but I don't love you any less, buddy. Still, we will see you on Sunday. But yeah, what was I saying? Sorry.
That's good. That was healthy conversation. See how that works, folks?
See how that works, folks? I'll be honest with all of y'all. I'd have got off here and I would have messaged Patrick and been like, "Hey man, I'm sorry for shouting on the screen. It wasn't it. What you said kind of triggered me, but it was always just about what was going on here. And like I said, that exactly what I said before. It was the last straw. I was just like, oh my god, why are you doing this? Anyways,
lineup wise, like we're kind of mentioning, I expect more of the same. Maybe Yoshiko comes in for Ake. Maybe Diaz comes in. Maybe Kova rotates in. But other than that, I think the rest of the lineup is
spot on. Going to be same.
The same. Maybe those three come in for a good
Search my owns.
Ake. Maybe. I mean, you can't take Stones out at this point. He scored 2 straight matches, so maybe it's an Akanji.
Well, and especially with him splitting time and especially with him splitting time with Ruben today. So I mean, he'll be plenty healthy for Saturday. Same thing with Ruben. I mean, we may very well see him and Ruben essentially, and maybe Akanji he gets a sit because he hasn't had a lot of time, or maybe he goes out wide. Because we have seen him play at right back. Right, Rico's played a lot of minutes, so that's very possible.
And Southampton is much like Wolves in that they have 1 point at the bottom of the table. They're slightly above Wolves out of a tiny bit better negative goal differential. So they've not been in great form. I would anticipate a similar setup that we have seen over the past few matches where everybody's playing the same way, where it's a block of 5, a block of 4, and maybe one striker trying to token pressure a little bit. I would expect more of that being the same. And I am glad that we're home again with all these fixtures that we have coming up, playing midweek and then having to travel down to the South Coast to go play Southampton wouldn't have been a great situation with our injury situation. So I'm glad that we at least do have them at home this go around, and we don't have to go anywhere, and the guys can recover over the next couple of days and go through training sessions here and not have to worry about going south. So that's a good thing. So
can wholly expect the low block to be coming from Southampton. I think today, not to say that Sparta Praha and Southampton are comparable by any stretch of the imagination. Every team is, they have their caveats. But I think it was a good showing of how we can start to dismantle, as I said earlier, the low block. Making sure that we're trying to stretch those lines apart in some way, shape, or form. So that way there is space being created centrally, especially in the middle of the box. Holland also has to want it. You know what I mean? I see him turn up a lot against lower teams. I mean, he's had many days, quite a few days against West Ham, not to say that they're a lowly team, but they've not been the best in recent history, in recent memory. So, maybe he has a good day. Maybe he comes out and he scores a hat trick, and we can take care of business. With the injuries, a lot of what Joe said, but also I've made this mention before several times, throughout our podcasting careers, where I feel that there are a few what we call trap games over here. And basically, if you don't understand what the trap game is just one you get hung up on, one you don't expect to lose. This is certainly one that I think a lot of people would expect to win, but it also has the makings of one that we can potentially drop. And I'm only saying that just purely based upon injuries, and because there are a lot of times where I feel specifically that City plays down to teams. We don't play our game. We don't put the pedal to the metal, and I've been calling for that for a while. So it's very possible that we could play down and play a little looser than we did today. It's any given day, really. I mean, we can't always call it, although we did call it today. So
Again, pat myself on the back on that one again. Been singing Nunez's praises for a while, and he showed out today. Called fills. Got to see some of the things we spoke about on Sunday show up on the pitch today. So all in all, it was a lovely Sunday to watch Man City, based on what we got to see on the pitch.
You mean Wednesday?
Wednesday. The yawns are real. So
I didn't mean it.
It's contagious all the way from Winchester, Virginia to Pasadena, Maryland.
I can't even imagine how they're feeling on the other side. People there.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, what time is it? It's like 1:00 there, isn't it? Ooh.
Yep. Yep.
Long are gone the days where staying up late was is normal. I can't go at 10:30. That's my bedtime. Yep. Yep.
Back in, so we're shifting into bro talk here. Back in the early days of COVID, when everybody was home and was teaching at the time, and it was, just pretty much had to pop up the computer at 8:30 to get the kids going on something on the computers. And that was like prime when Warzone first came out. It would be plop down on the couch with my energy drink or my G Fuel powder drink that I made at like 9:30 and be up until 3:00 in the morning playing video games. Get a quick 4-hour sleep, pop up the computer, throw something for the kids to do, and then rinse and repeat. I cannot do that shit no more.
No, COVID is honestly what fucking wore me down to the bare minimum of what I could possibly be. I spent my whole COVID, my living room, the one I'm in right now. Yes, this is my living room that I'm in. I'm just in a corner of my living room. My living room, and more so, my whole house was a fucking rave for all of COVID. If there wasn't one of the live streams they had on the TV right here where I'm standing, I was DJing. Dude, I can't. Dude, it's once 7:30, 8:00 hits, man. It's yawn city, bro. But I did find a way to stop yawning. I found it out because I was really self-conscious. I was really self-conscious about it. So I got on. I was like, "How do you get yourself to stop yawning?" Apparently, allegedly, if you touch the tip of your thumb or your pointing finger to the tip of your tongue while you're yawning, it will stop it entirely.
I'll have to try that next time it pops up.
So Monday I was at my doctor's, and as we're walking out, we were walking back to the office. He's yawning, and it's 3:00, and I'm like, learned a little trick. He's like, "What's that?" I said, "Next time you yawn, tip of your tongue, put your finger to it." As soon as I said, "Next time you got to yawn," he started yawning, and he did it, and he was like,
mind blown.
"What the fuck just happened?" Yeah, so if you're yawning in front of your boss or somebody that you don't want to think that what they're saying is boring, just you might look like a little bit of a bitch.
Because you're got your finger in your mouth.
Right. There is this one girl at my local bar that I used to go to. All the local townies used to still do go there. It's called Milano's. There's this one chick. that just randomly popped up out of nowhere. I've never seen this girl in my life. And she ended up becoming friends with one of my friends. I didn't care for her much because I thought she was fake as fuck, especially considering that her were fake.
That's a dead giveaway usually.
Right, and you're out here claiming you're a fucking model and you're like 41. Get the fuck out of here. She used to stand at the bar, right? So like when you walk into this bar, it's a very skinny type room. You walk in the front door, right there to the right, there's a little space. Usually there's a DJ there, and then they've got an L-shaped bar that goes all the way to the back and some tables there off to the left. And then like a rail bar you can sit at with what do you call them? Fucking bar stools. So I'm walking into the back. Usually me and my friends, we would sit right next to where like the barmaid entrance is, right?
Mhm.
That was just our spot. And she's standing there. We don't know who the fuck she is. And she's just sitting there like doing this the whole time. And I'm like,
Oh my Lord. Can we
do you think you're cute? Because you're not. You could literally just write slut right across the top of my head. And I'm sorry, I'm not slut shaming. I'm not slut shaming for our PC people in here. But if there was if mutual combat was a possibility between men and women, she would be the first one I call it on.
I love when people have pictures of themselves and that's all they post on Instagram, and then they say,
Oh my
I'm
God.
a model. I'm a model. I'm like, okay, cool. So I play video games occasionally, so that means I'm a professional gamer then.
Right? Because I've been doing it, I don't know, my whole fucking life.
Well, no, you're not a model.
No. She claims that she's been like she's never been fucking published nationally. Her only publishings have been in like South Korea and Japan.
She's an international superstar, bro. What are you talking
Whoa.
about?
Whoa. Dude, literally if you put this girl in daylight without makeup, it's awful. It's makeup does a lot for her. Wrinkle City, bro.
And seedy bar lights.
Yes. That's 100% what makes her look decent at all. I swear to God. Like we would go to this, just so everybody knows, used to be into EDM really big, used to DJ. We don't know what that is. They don't even know who they are. We're still waiting for his little pea shooter to come on over. So, anyways, we live in the DC area. For most of you who don't know, or if you do know, but DC, according to DJ Mag, they have a club called Echo Stage, and it has been ranked by DJ Mag the #1 club in the world several years in a row. I used to frequent there a lot, to the point of getting to know managers, certain promoters, yada yada yada. Before we even first time I ever go there, she like touts herself up. She's all telling us how she knows all these people and how she can get us in with this and get us in with that. We walk in, ain't nobody come up and said hi to her.
Shocker.
She goes, "Oh, I know that person. Oh, I know that person. Oh, really? Do they know you?" Clearly not.
You've seen them, therefore you know them.
Yeah, dude, I can find Pete Kalatomalis or whatever the fuck his name is on LinkedIn. That doesn't mean he knows who the fuck I am.
The way some people's minds work, bro.
Oh, dude, it's always I've got to flex, dude. Honestly, growing up in this area, both of us not actually being from the DC area, what is the one thing you notice about DMVers? Bar none than anything.
Probably the way they carry themselves.
They all try to flex. They all try to flex on something that they don't actually have ever. And the ones that do have it are so egregious about it that you don't even want to be around them.
Big time.
Yeah. Like the amount of douche canoes that live in this area is astounding. Entitled beyond belief. if you guys think that like New Yorkers are something, DC people are a special breed.
See it a lot and notice it a lot on Saturdays and Sundays when our kids are playing footy.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you're playing teams like from Northern Virginia and like Bethesda, Potomac area, like that kind of all those little
anything
Jesus,
just right around the DMV. Yep.
Is the entitlement and that comes from those parents on the sideline.
My shit doesn't stink as bad as yours.
And it trickles down into their kids too at the same time too. So
oh yeah.
And because DC is such a hotspot for
melting
jobs
pot
and everything and melting pot, people want to live near it. So even out by Colby and then up where I am closer to Baltimore, like people are trying to find any way they can to be near it. So it's not just like that little area directly around. It's starting to like just permeate and spread out a little bit more farther and farther away from the DC area.
Oh, dude, we're getting all the DC idiots now up around my way. Mm-hmm. So I technically live about an hour and a half outside northwest of DC. What most people in this area would consider the sticks or the rural areas. It's now becoming very, very populated very, very quickly because there's a lot of land out here. And the old money that used to hold up this place is now dwindling away. So we have all these new fucking housing developments, and it's kind of crazy too because you can tell the people that have moved up here because of the drivers. See, everybody around here used to drive the speed limit and like respect each other's driving, right? No, not anymore. And the street that I live right off of, Route 7, it's a fucking drag strip every day. That's all I hear all night. If I don't hear somebody's WRX with a fucking shitty exhaust, I hear somebody's Hellcat. It's
obnoxious.
It's obnoxious. And I won't say the demographic of people it is because that's a whole other topic that I don't think this is an appropriate place to have. But, yeah. I want to send we've been sending shout outs recently. I want to send another shout out to the newly inducted Cincinnati OSC. Ever since they have basically, from what I've seen, jumped on the scene, they followed us. They have been liking our content relentlessly. I love that shit, man. Love it. So welcome to the scene, y'all. Even though you're Cincinnati and I'm originally from Pittsburgh, there's a bit of bad blood there. It's okay there because we're finally sharing the same colors. So welcome to the motherfucking party. If any of you guys are in here, please let us know that you're here. Give us a wave. Say hey. Would certainly like to get maybe in contact with the head of the OSC and see if they'd like to come on and talk and tell us a little bit how they ramped up a OSC here in the United States. Most people, I don't think, know that the states have OSCs. Every major city at this point has one. Even secondary cities have one. Come to find out, Dallas, I believe, has fucking 3 of them. That's pretty massive.
Yep. The growth of the club in the States is real, and it's not stopping anytime soon. It's probably going to take off even more once we get through this coming summer when they're back here for the Club World Cup. Guarantee is going to see another big spike after that point in time. So, yeah. Reach out. We love talking to new people and hearing about how you created the OSC. And it's different for each city. Like the process is the same, but why you're deciding to do it is why is it the difference? I love hearing new stories about how y'all got into wanting to create one, and how you got into the team in the club and in the game itself. So we do have the Ballon d'Or ceremony coming up in about 5 days. And because one player over in Spain playing for Madrid scored a hat trick against Dortmund yesterday, that automatically means he's got to get the award. whatever happened last year when it actually counts,
It's null and void.
that doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter
Nope.
that he no-showed in the club for the Copa America. Brazil crashed out of that. He was a non-factor, was barely playing. Doesn't matter that he hadn't had the greatest goal and assist contribution season for Madrid, but they won the Champions League, and so that means he's got to win it, right? It's craziness.
How do you jump to that conclusion? How is it just those? Is this an anti-city thing, or is this a? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Anti-city and it's anti-English football because when we won
Who's the last?
chip,
Who's the last Englishman to win the Ballon d'Or?
been a minute.
I don't even know if it was Shearer.
Let's see what we got.
And that is the end of that. Who?
You finish her off?
I did.
Let me scroll. The last time someone won it while playing for an English club was Ronaldo.
While playing for an English club. Not an Englishman.
Yes. So it's craziness that Holland didn't get it when we won the Champions League. But they're going to now... We're going to give it...
Mikey Owen. Thank you, Stu. Thank you, Stu.
But that logic now is out the window.
You're always late.
He's probably on dad duty himself.
I gotta give him some doo-doo.
Oh, absolutely. Please
gotta
do,
give him some
what
doo-doo.
What he did to me on Who's That Baller a couple of weeks ago.
Didn't you guys just weren't you guys just against each other in fantasy?
Yes, and my fantasy team is ass cheeks.
How? You got the first fucking pick. You got the first and the last pick. I got sixth, and I'm on 2 and 5 right now, with a very strong midfield.
My midfield is poop.
Listen, we got to start doing trades in that league. We need to start doing some trades.
They apparently are not great in fantasy footy. That's for sure.
Well, so we got Mikey Owens, the last actual Englishman as a Ballon d'Or winner, but Cristiano Ronaldo was the last English player, well, not English player, last player on an English team to get the Ballon d'Or. Okay.
It's definitely heavily biased towards the Spanish leagues. That is
Clearly.
for sure.
Clearly.
Star player for Real Madrid or Barcelona typically.
The fact that Rodri is a Spanish player should be more than enough to push him on to this. He is... There isn't a like for like when it comes to Rodri. You can't replace Rodri. You can replace a Vinny.
Yep.
He's easily replaceable. You could go off to the Saudi League and completely fuck off and nobody would miss him. The only people that would miss him are Real Madrid fans. Rodri, you literally cannot place. There is not another player in any one of these leagues that you can say, there's another Rodri.
And if you line them up side by side and look at accomplishments for club and country, because that's part of the description here, it's 100% easy to decide who the winner is, and it's not Vinny, it's Rodri by a mile. Anybody with any sane judgment should be able to pick that out.
I honestly think that the vote should go to a popular vote and not amongst journalists. I think this is one of those ceremonies where it would be a good time to imply an actual voting system to see whom thinks who's the best. Because let's think about this, okay? Most of the countries over there and the amount of people that live within them are nothing more than one of our states here in the United States. Let's be real. when we, I hate crossing sports, and I know that I've done that a couple of times. But so when it comes to our Pro Bowl team for the NFL, right? There's a section of the period or the section of the season where fans are allowed to vote in whom they believe was the best player at that position for their conference, right? Why is this not happening with Ballon d'Or? It makes too much sense not to, because this really is a popular vote. This isn't, they can do an AP thing where it's about the press and that's who they decide. But we're talking about a huge award. This is the Emmys or the Grammys of sports, basically, especially this sport. Why isn't this based on popular vote and instead some journo's skewed view on the game?
The easy fix is to do it. It's not the same because it's an all-star game, obviously, but the
Sure,
NBA,
yeah, right.
the NBA does a percentage. All the coaches vote. That vote counts a certain percentage towards the total. The journalists get a certain percentage. They all vote. They get a percentage. The players get a vote, and that's a certain percentage. You're including multiple groups to make the decision, and not just based off of biased one. We talked about this on Sunday. Anytime you take one source of information to make a decision or anything like that, it's not a great look. So utilize what you got. Use the managers, use the players, use the journalists, use the fans. Give everybody an opportunity to vote, and then weight them accordingly. However you want to. Whoever gets a little bit more, that's fine. Doesn't matter. Like, pick your poison there. But that way, you're getting a cross section of everyone, and not just a small group of people choosing what is a very, like you said, prestigious and weighting award that matters. But we're only letting these select people be the ones to
Yeah.
choose it for us. That just doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't, and it's clearly not an award of the people, and I feel like a lot of times this particular sport gets away from the fact that the overall demographic is worldwide and not country specific, like we're used to here in the States. There are a lot of people that have a lot of opinions, and that could literally change the course of whom does or does not get that award. Why are we not giving this one to the people? Blows my fucking mind. Greed. Greed's the answer. We all know the answer. These are all rhetorical questions, guys. These are not because I don't know. It's not because I'm asking questions because I'm ignorant. It's straight rhetoric. We all know what it is.
And those journalists that are running it right now don't want to give up the control over who has it.
No.
So.
No.
What this tells the story right here, what Ryan said. Jorginho finished third. Fucking Jorginho. Come on now.
And that was in 2020, 2021. Yeah, that I remember that actually. And it didn't even make sense. I was like, what? I'm brand new. Yeah, I'm brand new. Why is he there?
And they change how they weight things to fit their personal opinion.
Sometimes goal line pushing?
Yes, they move goalposts for sure. Because when Messi won it, the World Cup, which wasn't even in the year that he was that they should have been voting on, was weighted heavily to give him the award over Holland, because Champions League, we won that season, but the World Cup is more important than the Champions League. But apparently now the Euros are not so important, and the Champions League is more important because they want to hype up Vinny and Real Madrid. Just changing criteria to fit who they personally want. So it's like, either stick with the criteria, and if international trophies mean a lot,
not for me, mate,
then great. If they don't, then that's fine. But don't change it just to poo-poo the city players and hype up your first choices.
You know what? I honestly really love supporting a team that everybody loves to hate on, because I dealt with that with the NFL, my NFL support team. Most people don't like the Steelers because we've cultivated a winning culture, much like City has. We have cultivated a winning culture. We know what a standard is, and we hold ourselves to it every single season. Now, 500 has not been indicative of who the Steelers are, but nonetheless, it's still played the same way. Oh, hold on. Let me read the comment. But I'm gonna even if some bring up Culver Hall, dude, and why is he in the talks? He's gone. He's gone for. I think he's gone for the season, isn't he?
Because Spain won the Euros.
Right.
So, yes. Hi, haters.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I love being on this boat, literally and figuratively, and like because there's a boat right there, little thing right there. You can't see my cursor. I'm circling the boat right now. Circling the boat.
Right
Yeah, dude. I'm happy to be on this ship. I'm glad that I chose this squad. Am I tired of the whiners? Yes, I am. I'm done with it. I don't have time for that. There's too much negativity in the world to begin with. There's just too much negativity. Yeah, there's too much negativity in the world to begin with. I don't fucking need that. They hate so hard they come after our kits now. Dude, yeah, seriously. Well, but also some of our own go after our kits. There was who are you dealing with this past week, Joe, on X? Some chick was like, "Oh, I guess I have a differing opinion," or she was saying something stupid because she wanted Adidas.
She was poo-pooing Puma doing all of our kits, and we need to get Puma out as our kit sponsor when they've done a phenomenal bang-up job for 95 to 99% of our kits since they've come on.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but literally every Adidas kit looks exactly the same because you know why? They all have the 3 marks on the fucking shoulders down to the sleeves. I'm sorry, Adidas. I don't want to see that. I don't care that you made that fucking kit. Because you know why? Your little badge, it's right here. Well, actually, it's right here. But nonetheless, just don't let them come after our kids, right? I love that all of us in here are, for those of us who are parents, we are forging the next generation of City fans, especially ones here in the States, but even more so the ones over there. The fact that we have this ability now to sit on a screen and talk shit and talk shop about our team. I can't imagine the amount of knowledge that a lot of these kids will have by the time they're our age. I'm very excited for it. Like that's honestly like when I go to my kids' matches on the weekends and I think of, what he'll be in the next 20, 30 years, I see a future City supporter who is going to be so incredibly entwined into this club and love it so much. My fear for that is there's still going to be haters that don't like the Americano up in their sport.
You said 20 or 30 years from now?
Yeah.
You be Grandpa Colby at that point, bro.
Shut the fuck up.
I got less time than you, dude.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know, man. With these other generations, not wanting to have kids and becoming dinks and becoming dinks. If you don't know what a dink is, anybody that's in here, it is a double income, no kids situation. Where basically, living your real best life. And there's people, dude, it's so funny you get on the internet, you can actually find these couples and all they do is they shit all over people who have kids. I'm sorry. The greatest joy I've had in my life is having a kid. I have learned so much, not only about myself, but about life. And then I get to learn and teach somebody. Like, it's just, you get to correct all your wrongs in life too. You know what I mean? Like, even though you have to be the parent, make somebody twice as good as you are. If I'm this good now, imagine what he's going to be like. Right. That's some extra level confidence for you guys that I don't ever do. Joe would be like 6'4" by the time his back is. Grind the spine. Grind the spine.
I was standing there waiting for Elliot to get out of school today to pick her up, and I caught myself like slouching way too much. I was like, man, I need to like.
Oh yeah.
Posture is shitty. Oh my god.
Do you know where that comes from?
I know
Do
where it comes
you
from
know?
for
Do you
me.
know where our generation of shitty posture comes from?
Looking, most folks, yes. For me, I know it's because I'm always slouching because I'm trying to bend down to hear you short folks speak.
Oh, okay. Jolly Green Giant. I'll make sure that I talk up next time I'm with you.
It's just common courtesy. That's all it is.
I'm gonna let that Scouser have the bust.
Ellie.
Aiden now is like asking me if he can join Liverpool. And I'm like, do you really want to do that? And he's like, but that means I'm closer to somebody finding me. And I was like, you're not any closer than you are now, son.
They'll find you no matter where you're at.
Exactly.
If you're good enough, they'll find you.
Yeah, exactly. It's. I feel really bad because, and I know it's like that, especially, I mean, we're boys. We grew up, fantasizing about playing for our favorite teams. And I know that certainly rings true for our children, but specifically with Aiden, he has it in his mind that he's going to make it somewhere. And I'm really trying to find the best way to let him know that it doesn't always work out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very tough, especially when you're out the flighty and fantasy-ridden mind of an 8-year-old. That it's not exactly in the cards quite yet. I mean, you're in a good division, especially for over here. But to think that you're going to play for City one day, I mean, that's very high aspirations. And you got to work very hard for that. This isn't because you think you're special, you're going to make it. That's not how this works. You got to work twice as hard as Phil Foden and Nico O'Reilly and James McAtee in order to be able to even have that chance. You know what I mean? They're specifically with, Foden, he's very lucky to have been born in Stockport County and have that right in his backyard and that be the place that he goes. America is only just now being looked into for talent. Where that may lead in the next, 10, 15 years, who's to say? It might spring up really high, but I have tried to tell him if you want to be that person, you got to be like Michael Jordan. You got to be like Kobe Bryant. You got to be like Lionel Messi, where they don't quit during the day. They go to practice 4 times. Like I remember Kobe Bryant saying how he would practice 4, 5, 6 times a day, on top of going to training with his team, on top of going to a physical therapist and shit like that. Like I told him, I was like, dude, you got to take 20 minutes every single day, and then you'll find multiple times a day to take that 20 minutes and then compile it all together, and then you go to practice, and now you're a little bit better than everybody else because you practice more than everybody else.
How bad do you really want it?
How bad do you want it? Exactly.
And if the answer is really bad, then these are the steps you got to take to
this is who you got to be in order for that to happen.
Yes. Exactly.
These are the sacrifices you will have to make in order for that to happen.
There. Yes.
You don't get to have a social life when you want to be that competitive and you want to make a living out of it. You don't get the luxuries of certain things that most kids do growing up, or even adults going into, you know what I mean? A lot of these kids, and I don't know if it's, what they see on the TV or whatever it is, but have it in their mind that just because they want to do it, they can get it. And I think that's part of the participation trophy era that needs to be cleansed out. Not everybody's going to be a winner. The people who drive to succeed and do it every day and make it their morning, noon, and night, those are the ones that might succeed. And those
And the other, I think, aspect of that too is they see nonstop all these just average Joes becoming celebrities on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. And they're like, well, I can do
If they
that.
can do it.
I can do it. So I'm going to be a YouTuber. I'm going to be a social media influencer. So it's
Right.
easy. So it's like
Yeah.
a combination of so many things where they have unrealistic expectations now of how to be successful, I guess, is
Yeah.
the piece.
I mean, even this right here, even this racket that we're in right now, it's not easy, guys. Yes, we might be a couple of talking heads on the screen, but you don't know the ins, outs, and all the other shit that we've had to endure over the last few years just to be even at this point, and only 74 people watching us. That's huge for us compared to last year. We were lucky to have 5, 6, 7, but it's all about how hard you work. It's about how hard you grind. It's about how much passion you put into it and the sacrifices that you do make throughout your day in order to make it even possible.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's a good place to conclude Bro Talk. We are at an hour and 46, so we got a little bit of overage. I'm gonna go ahead and blow the whistle. What a good fucking midweek surprise. I won't call it a surprise. I think we all knew we could have done this. But what a good way to go into the weekend. Do you have any final thoughts, Joe? What's Stu say? Who's that baller, Joe Fodge?
To have turned a few heads with the Hey man, whatever it takes to get more folks in here. I got some more gems of old school Joe that will probably make folks laugh. So
you'd be very pressed to find anything old of me. You might have to ask my mama.
There you go.
No, all right.
Just a great day to be a City fan. Like we said, the anniversary of 6-1, we broke United's record today. Also, going to 26 games unbeaten in the competition. So we are now new record holders in the Champions League once again. Something that we have that every other English club doesn't, and all those other big Champions League clubs, i.e. Madrid, Bayern, Barcelona, Inter, all those folks. It's us that have gone the longest unbeaten in the competition, and it's still growing. So,
yep.
City till I die, baby.
City till I die. Oh, City till I die. Everybody, thank you. All 74 of you in here right this moment that we can see. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. You could have been anywhere else in the world, and you decided to sit here with us. We thank you, and we appreciate you for that. If you are here watching us, you would like to see us grow, do your part, and help us grow by sharing our content. Also, wouldn't hurt either if you went into our merch store right there with that little QR code, and you picked up a t-shirt that we have in there. We've got a great selection of stuff in there. Please give it a look. I'm wearing one right now. If you can't already see, it's the Phil Pew Pew. I'm actually, being that Phil did score today, I think I'm going to do you guys a solid. And on this specific shirt, I'm going to give 15% off if you buy by the weekend. So go ahead and get those orders in ASAP. They are all on demand. It is not I have to buy a bunch of them and shit like that. Like, it's literally on demand. And bonus, ships worldwide. All right. So go ahead and do that. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you hit the subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bells for all of our material that comes out on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on social medias. We are on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Fuck TikTok. Bunch of fucking weirdos.
Quick shout out to those who did share on X at least our live episode. Ryan,
yes, thank you so much.
Citizens Fancast, per usual, sending it out. Greatly appreciated. City Luke TV, he was in early. It is late over there, so I'm sure he's not in here anymore. But he went ahead and shared out our content and our episode on his account. And then Luke from Not My Lifetime Pod went ahead and shared our episode out on X. So appreciate all 4 of you guys for doing that. Always helps us. Appreciate the support from y'all for tonight. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for hanging out with a couple of dumb Americans. Until Sunday, we are going to leave you with. I think this is only appropriate considering he opened up the shit. Cast out of fire! Cast out of fire!